How are you, Marty?
I'm very good. How are you today?
I'm having actually today is a fun day. It's been really rough because I'm so alone for so many months in the quarantine here in Santiago.
Yeah.
But my stepson sent me this video where it's, those fake deep fake videos. There's an app where you can put your face inside different
Right.
situations.
Yeah.
And so I pretty much spent the last 7 hours doing that and posting it on Instagram.
I'm glad you're getting something accomplished today.
I mean, I was supposed to mix, I've been doing a little bit of remote work, but
Right.
overall it's been really tough because I just came out of making a record. So
yeah,
the idea was to be out on the road, and obviously that idea has to be delayed for all of us.
Yeah.
And the live shows and all that. So it's just been a bit of an adjustment, and it's been pretty intense here. The lockdown has been pretty total since March 16th.
Yeah. So
cool.
I want to talk about your new album, but I was at that show, at the PJ Harvey show, and that tour. I mean, it was an amazing band, and I just wanted to get your kind of reminiscence of it, because I mean, like, I think Mick Harvey was in the band and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, it was Mick and John Parrish and Terry Edwards on the saxophone, and James Johnston from Gallon Drunk, and Jean-Marc Bouty on percussion, and Ken Rigrone on percussion, and Alessandro Stefana and Enrico Gabrielli on the horns and guitar, and then me and Polly, and I think I got everybody. Yeah, there was like 10 of us. Yeah. It was amazing because when we've been friends since Desert Sessions in the early 2000s. And then she asked me to be part of this, and I knew it was going to be special from the second we went on to the recording, which is basically a room within a room built in the lower level at Somerset House, and we had just a big rectangular space filled with recording equipment and instruments, and there was 3 or 4 viewings a day. We couldn't see them. There was glass all around one
right.
way. So we couldn't see out, but they could see in, and they could listen. The stereo feed of the console. So yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And then obviously the tour, it was the most powerful yet fragile band I've ever been a part of. Very unusual instrumentation and delivery, quite theatrical, but not overly so. And of course Polly, commanding and just her shamanic presence.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
What kind of band leader is she? How did she communicate with you guys?
I mean, she's like a absolute the best band leader. She's like a friend, and it's a family, and she's our fearless leader on one hand. On the other hand, it's like she's very kind of democratic. It's obviously it's the vision and everything's already instilled, but it was really sweet. A lot of concern for how comfortable we were, and everybody's just kind of like, and John Parrish is like, as the concertmeister or the man in charge of stage. It was absolutely really special experience for me. Quite different from the usual, and unusually usual. Obviously my bands have been in like 11 and Queens of the Stone Age and Crooked Vultures, and even the early days. It's always been a little bit different than but this is really something else. Really, I mean, amazing.
Cool. Yeah, you just ran down your kind of resume, Queens and Crooked Vultures and whatever. But I was doing a little research myself. I didn't realize you were like in an early formative version of Red Hot Chili Peppers as well.
Yeah. Well, before the Peppers, I mean, basically the genesis of it, we met, like 14 years old, I think we were. I met Jack and Hillel in Bancroft Junior High.
Yeah.
Jack Irons, Hello Slovak. We started our first band. It was just a 3-piece with no bass. And then in 10th grade, we got a bass player named Todd. And then he played with us for a year and a half or so. And then he quit. And then Flea was our friend that played trumpet, amazing jazz trumpet player, already a musician. So he just had to come to our houses for, we had a Battle of the Bands show 3 months hence. And he learned all the songs. And then, I showed him some scales and some finger strengthening, coordination things, and Anthony was our friend as well, but he was in drama, so he was doing the plays and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then after we got out of high school, we continued playing. Flea left to join Fear for a while. We got a different bass player, and then Anthony and Flea had moved to get in together. And then a friend Gary Allen, performance artist, an awesome artist. Asked them, yeah, I got a show coming up. You guys come up with something, you know? And then the first Chili Peppers show was them opening up for Gary Allen at the Grandia Room, I think it was. They prepared 3 songs, and you know, obviously instantaneously, everyone was like, "Whoa, what's that?" You know. So we were coexisting for a while, and then when the record deals appeared, which took a while, we were quite kind of like going, you know, we're already like veterans, you know, since we've been playing. So yeah, like, what's happening? No, we don't know what's gonna say. And we've got offers the same week, and Hillel and Jack decided to stay with me, and so we had, you know, Chris Hutchison. We did the What Is This Squeeze album. They did the first record. Then Hillel left during the second record, back to the Peppers, and then Jack left after Natasha joined What Is This. He left back to the Peppers, so her and I formed Walk the Moon. Her and I had already met. Yeah. And then we did one record as Walk the Moon, and then after Hillel passed away, Jack took a break, and then the 3 of us decided to form 11, like in 1990 or so. You know, so yeah, so that's kind of like a short version of the, you know.
It's an amazing like career up to this point. I mean, when it's just like, because I see your name on, and I'm one of those people who reads liner notes, you know.
Yeah.
Wow. So I feel like I know you, even though I'm not even sure I know how to pronounce your name properly.
Well, you know, I just say Alain because my mom liked the actor Alain Delon, so it's Alain. But to say Alain is really hard for a lot of people, so I just say Alain because I don't want it to be Elaine. Yeah. Or Elaine, you know. So Alan is fine, and Johannes is just my middle name because Moshulsky is my last name, and Natasha, her being a Schneiderman or Schneider, so Moshulsky and Schneider is more like a law firm than a band songwriter. It's like Lennon and McCartney. Lennon and McCartney has a vibe, you know.
That does have a vibe, yeah.
Jagger, Richards, Moshulsky, Schneider. I'm not so sure. So I went with Johannes really early on. So yeah.
And you were originally born in Chile, right?
I was born in Chile, but whisked away very young. I ended up speaking Swiss German first. Like, you know, I was born in 62, and by like 63 and something, my grandmother, who was born in Transylvania, and at the time it was still kind of called that, and had been running away from the war, and then ended up in Hungary in 56, which is not a good idea. Yeah. And then took the family, you know, my mom and my uncles to Chile in the late 50s, and then I was born, and then things were kind of brewing a little bit, and she just kind of took me. She just like kind of got like said, I'm going to take him, and so then the family reconvened in Mexico City in 68, where I lived till 74, always with an eye, you know, already playing music since I was 4, so I always had an eye on LA because my Aunt Frankie, who was born in England, lived there on Laurel Canyon of all places, very mythic area. Yeah. And so I kind of like, you know, figure out a way to like, you know, have a holiday, and we just kind of went up there and stayed, and that's when I met everybody. And so yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
Well, I don't know. Well, okay, so the thing is about moving to so many different countries and having, you know, because Spanish I picked up after, and then English, and then I learned French in school, and then I didn't speak Spanish for like, you know, really for like 40 years. Coming back to Chile in 2010, since the early, you know, since 46 years, whatever. Yeah. I started being interviewed on the radio, and no one could understand a word I was saying in Spanish. Now it's better. I've gotten better at it because I use it so much all the time. But obviously, you know, you know, grew up in LA since the 70s, and you just speak English all the time, and a little bit of Spanish here and there. Yeah, but I'm better at it. I'm picking it up, and which is, you know, means I still have brain cells that function at my age, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's talk about hum a little bit.
Yes.
What is the kind of background? Why did you decide that you needed to make this record?
Well, so I made Spark for Natasha in 2010. Right. I made Fragments in 2015, which is, you know, a little more like sounds like a full band, but it was basically based on little improvisations on Instagram that would turn into whole songs. That's what's called Fragments and Wholes. And I didn't really. I was supposed to really, the plan was to make it an album with my trio. I have a trio here with Cote Fonseca and Philip Fonseca, and we did a song called Luna Sol with Mike Patton guesting on it, and we put that out as a single. And then, I kept coming back from a couple of trips, and we needed to record more. But then I kind of got, kind of in this last year, around March, I had hit this wall with, I think it was Chris Cornell's passing was just kind of a delayed reaction, and then kind of brought back a lot of other stuff. Losing not only Natasha but my uncle Peter, who was my mentor, and my mom and dad within 3 weeks of each other in 2014. It's life and things can happen. But
still, you got to deal with it,
Yeah. And I found myself kind of I've never been abusing anything. I like wine, obviously, I should have been a little thinner all this time. I was kind of in a good weight in the 90s during Euphoria Morning Tour, but then, I love food or whatever. So I hit this wall where the things when you're, mid to late 50s, they find this and they find that, and it's pre-diabetic and the blood pressure's too high, and you got to cut out the stuff. And so it was a little bit of a scare, plus I had some depression and whatever, and I decided to book a tour, a solo tour last year to kind of reconnect and I'd never done a solo tour of Europe. I'd done some solo shows opening for Queens and for Chris. But I decided to postpone the trio record and plan on a solo record when I got back from tour. But then when I got back from tour, at the end of the tour in October, I went to Naples to produce a really cool punk band. And then coming back mid-November, I immediately got sick, and it got worse and worse and worse to the point where it was almost 3 months in bed. They didn't know what it was. Respiratory, they said bronchitis, maybe it's pneumonia. I took antibiotics, 4 rounds, and who knows, maybe it was even like a COVID or it would have been kind of early for it, but I've never been sick like that before. So I managed to get better with steroids, and I get up early February, and I've been building up this need to make the solo record. And I've had so much time in bed trying to, feel better, and had some scary moments of the respiratory stuff and whatever. Yeah. I started to imagine the record, and I kept kind of picturing it like an early 70s Nick Drake or Robert Wyatt or Richard Thompson, like a folk, psychedelic folk, where the heart of each song is an acoustic instrument and a voice, and then there's overdubs to amplify. Yeah. I didn't have anything prepared because lately, the last decade or so, I really, and especially working with Mark Lanigan, where we just get in the studio and a lot of the stuff is created in there from a basic idea. All I had was the first song and the second song. And the first song, all I had was I didn't have lyrics. I just had Mermaid Scream. I had the Portuguese guitar part, the rolling arpeggio, and the voice melody. The second hum, all I had was the picking part and a melody that had been bouncing around since those were 2 Instagram improvisation vibes that I posted. So I started with that, and I knew that the first song was going to be Mermaid Scream, and then the second was going to be Hum. And that the day of recording each, I was writing the lyrics and doing the overdubs, finishing everything by dinner time, having dinner, mixing it, going to bed. Next day, the next song. So now day 3, I'm just listening for the silence after the 2 songs finish. And I was doing this mental trick with myself that the album's already done, and it's awesome. And I'm just trying to basically cut between like little, whatever the thing is, and it leads to where everything connects and there's no time, there's no space, and just get the information from what it's going to be, almost like being dictated. And that kind of mental, I imagine it as a real feeling. Like I've always felt like I just prepared to receive transmissions, and then I'm lucky enough when they come, and then there's a piece of music. But what it does is that it neutralizes thinking and overly judging, which enables me to move quickly and very focused and kind of in a trance kind of way, without just a lot of feeling and all my heart's in it at the moment. And it ends up really working because it's really distilled and just essence and essence and essence. It's not like overly complicated or for whatever. So it ends up sounding really good to me, So that's the way that the record just took shape over 12 days. I took 1 day before song 9 and 10 to just run around to the beach and clear my head.
Nice.
And then that was how it came about, I had the idea of the word hum kind of as a concept of this kind of almost imperceptible, inaudible humming or drum that is all of existence, like all of nature, all of the, everything. So like when you hear, like when you see an electrical station and you hear the zzz, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So that it relates to that. It's good to this kind of thing that connects everything.
Yeah, it's a very that hum track is very pastoral, and it was like, oh, is this what this is all about? This is very interesting. But on the first track on Mermaid Scream, is that a harp that's being played in there somewhere, or it sounds like?
No. What it is when I was in Portugal a couple of years ago and produced this really cool band called Dead Combo. That's kind of like a cool Fado influence alternative band.
Right.
They turned me on to one of the national heroes. His name is Carlos Paredes, Paredes, and he plays the Portuguese guitar. And it's a different kind of instrument. It's got 12 strings. It's tuned CGA, DGA, and the Coimbra tuning, because there's a different tuning, a whole tone higher for Portugal. I mean, for Lisbon.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, its origins go back hundreds of years. And so it's got the tuning pegs are these funny, like little twisty, turny things. And the way that the fingerboard is curved. And so what it lends itself to a very chimey, somewhere between like a harpsichord and a mandolin and, I don't know, a flamenco guitar. And so he's a very incredible virtuoso, incredible composer, harmonically too. So I was immediately fell in love with him and music. And I found myself one at McCabe's guitar shop, and then had it for a while. So basically it's like, so I'm doing this backwards flamenco-y kind of strum. And that's why it sounds harp-like, because it's like you're glistening across because of the picking pattern going this way and then coming back with the pinky. And I've got nails, strong nails. And that was a feeling, because I had just seen The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers, the guy that did The Witch, and had all these mythological themes in black and white and very intense, by the sea,
right.
Mermaids and like, and so that part just kept me, I kept picturing like waves crashing in this kind of timeless mythological world. And that's how it came about from that. It's a beautiful instrument.
Cool.
And then, yeah, that's the thing that sounds like a harp in that one. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on, but
Yeah, definitely. And there's a couple of tracks that sound like there's a sitar in it. Hallowed Bones and the final track, Fini, and it's got a kind of droney kind of thing going on. Is that a sitar?
No, it's actually
of course not.
No, I mean, I have a sitar, except that it needs the strings need to be changed, and I haven't found the extra 2 weeks yet. I mean,
Gotcha.
If I had it with me here in quarantine in Santiago, I could have changed the strings several times. No, what that is two things. One is I just got a sarangi, which Ram Narayan plays. If you listen to Indian classical or Bollywood soundtracks, it's like this lonely sounding cello or violin, and so it's basically like many sympathetic strings. The strings are floating. There's no fingerboard, and you play, and it's like gut strings, and you use the cuticle nail area to basically, not fret, but you make the note. And it's got a short bow, and so all that, and let me tell you, it's extremely painful.
Oh man.
Because you're just grinding on your cuticles, right in that space. And obviously it would take a lifetime to be good at it, but I can certainly make a drone on a song like I did.
Yeah.
And then that is kind of a more like throaty and textural sound. Obviously the sympathetic strings resonating is what you heard. But then in addition to that, I used a banjo, which I tuned in roots and fifths, and then bowed that. And obviously that has a very hurdy-gurdy sound, because it's a very...
But you're bowing a banjo?
Yeah, I'm basically playing it upright like this, and then going, and it's got that very kind of reedy, bright, mid-rangey, pokey sound like a hurdy-gurdy would. Because I don't own a hurdy-gurdy, but I figured I tried it, and this is extremely close to that.
That's pretty cool.
Na, 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 and feeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, whatever, necessity is the mother, right? So.
You are the hurdy-gurdy man.
Yes. Yeah, without the hurdy-gurdy less man.
Another one on Here in the Silence, which is kind of sparser with mostly guitar and voice, but at the end, is it a recorder or a flute or what?
No. It's actually a cigar box guitar is the main instrument.
Right.
And the only thing that appears is this Native American flute, and I have several of them, and they come in different flavors. This one is a drone flute. It has, I have one that has 3 necks. One neck is a static tonic, whatever key you pick, you buy it. It's a C, it's a D. Yep. And the other one has 3 holes and with rubber stoppers, so you can actually put like the root, the 5th or the major 3rd, minor 3rd. And then the 3rd one is where you actually play the melody,
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
I use that on that, and it's slightly detuned from the song. And what I used it because it immediately reminded of those interludes in the White Album,
Right.
Like do 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 do, and the Fool in the Hill, like everything's kind of played just a little bit like this, like little janky. And I love that kind of feel. When I've done horns, I played horns too, and when I've done horn sections, I make my my shitty intonation work in my favor by making it sound like a drunken Navy band or something,
Right.
Like,
well, you're obviously in a very sparse room at the moment. Do you have a place where all these instruments exist? Do you own them all?
Yeah. I mean, this is the R&B that I ended up here in Santiago. But yeah, I do. I have, in the old house in the 11 AD where we did Euphoria Morning and the last 2 11 records, Eagles of Death Metal, Jimmy Eat World, Lanigan, you name it. So many albums were made there. I think at one point, if I would count every like little shaker and flute and harpsichord and drum set, at something like 600 instruments.
Oh my God.
And I kind of downsized a tiny bit down to only 500 or so.
Right. Well, there you go.
and then when I moved, I moved in with my sister, and she gave me this really cool space, and I probably stuck about 150 in that room. There's another 80 in my bedroom, and there's a bed in the middle, and there's just instruments everywhere.
Right.
And then the rest is with friends at studios. Because I'll go pick it up if I need. Because I have a gusheng, I have a sarod, sitar, rhubarb, harmonium, whatever. And
Crazy.
so pipa. So they do a lot of soundtrack work. So they keep the stuff there, and if I need, I just go pick it up. And
right. So are you classically trained as a musician or
No.
I mean, that's for someone like me. I mean, the idea that you have like 500-600 instruments and you can play them all is just completely mind blowing.
Well, I didn't say I played them well.
That's all right.
I mean, literally. Okay, the thing is, I became obsessed with music really young, and that included all instruments, the sounds they make, recording, how to record them, the technical side of that. But unfortunately, I had a bad experience with a teacher when I was like 6. My mom sent me to a guitar teacher, and he was a bit of a sadist, and he would smack the shit out of my knuckles with a ruler. And so I didn't know any better, but I just decided not to go anymore. And then I just took my own path and did it all by ear.
Man,
and
that's amazing.
It's a lucky thing I met Natasha, because she's a genius and, perfect pitch, classically trained, was being groomed to be the next big composer. And
right.
She loved rock music and R&B. And so the two of us were perfect, because I'm super improvisational and daring and ballsy. I don't care. Let me try. So
it's going to take a lot of guts to pick up instruments like that when you're not trained and say, yeah, I can do this.
Well, I mean, what helps me a lot is listening. I mean, I think me listening to thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of music since I was a little kid, from all cultures and all different time periods, is what really helped me, resonate and recognize things. Also, what helps is being able to see a person play it, and then it's almost like a mimic, and I'm looking at their physicality. Like,
right.
You know that Divan Gasparian, that in The Last Temptation of Christ, is like that beautiful. It's called the Duke. It's like this beautiful sound, and it's a double reed, wooden instrument. And I bought one. I love the sound of it, and I picked it up, and I went quack, quack, quack. And then I tried this way, and it went quack, and then quack, quack. And then finally, I got to see him, and he had this, like, he held it down and moved his face, and I was like, and I went home, and I went whack, you know, and then boom, there it was. And so it really helps me to see. And the thing is, I will practice, like, okay, with string instruments, no matter what the angles are or whether there's a bow or not, there's enough technique there on the basic technique that if I apply and focus and pick out a part that I'm hearing in my head to record on a piece of music, then I can do it, you know?
Right, right.
And the same thing with horns. I mean, I picked up, I fell in love with Eric Dolphy in my teens, and so I got a flute and a bass clarinet and an alto sax, and I used to sit and close the door in the closet because obviously I'm still living with my folks in the neighborhood. Everyone was really close by, so you know, squawking in there and you know. And I like to kind of keep it mysterious. I always felt bad because I had such a huge jazz head, and I can only kind of wing it by ears up to a certain point. But I love it so much. Things kind of come out because I've been listening to it so much. But I really wish I would have gotten proper training. I did go to Dick Grove School of Music for 6 months to learn how to arrange because I decided to have a jazz band in the early 80s.
Right,
and I wanted to write that. Yes, and I played flute and soprano and piano and guitar, and I wanted to write charts, and I had no idea how to even start. So I just went and did it was in the Valley, and I did a 6-month crash course, and kind of worked pretty good. Obviously, like a lot of it was, my brain was just was caving in all the time. But yeah, I mean,
I can imagine
if I had to do it again. But on the other hand, this kind of kept me a little bit. For me, you know, especially it's like it's all still mysterious. It all still seems new, and even though I can have facility on things, it's like a wonder to me. So I pick up a new instrument.
Yeah.
Like when I got the sarangi, I mean, it happened to be sick in bed anyway, but I just sat there for hours, you know, and just like trying to figure out, like listening and you know, all the amazing sarangi music, and trying to get musical on it and all that stuff. And so that one in particular, you have to play all the time, or like trumpet,
right, yeah. I can
violin,
imagine.
you know, like things like that. If you can't just casually pick up every once in a while.
So this record's out this weekend, and obviously no one knows what's going on in the world. What they can do next. Have you got any kind of something in the back of your head that you want to try and accomplish once this is kind of got back to what may be normal?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously my main activities are either producing, working with people in the studio, or going on tour. And so both of those seem to be a bit tricky, you know, especially if there's travel. I don't know, you know, just the logistics of like traveling to another country, going into a studio with a bunch of people, make sure everyone's been quarantined. You have to quarantine when you get there. You know, I mean, It is possible.
Yeah.
So I figured that this is the best time to kind of create more music. Try to do some collaborations one-on-one. You know, Jack Irons, drummer in 11 and Pearl Jam and Chili Peppers original. He's moved back down to LA, not far from my sister's where I live, and so it'd be great if him and I do some stuff. I did some recording with John Theodore at Rancho, which is we gotta just finish editing really long jams.
Yeah.
I'd love to do an instrumental record. I think that's probably what's going to be next for me, and then also work remotely with my trio and finally finish the trio record. So a lot of recording this year, but mainly I just want to get outside and go to the beach and the mountains and go walking.
Well, come down to New Zealand. You'll have to wait 2 weeks, and then there's plenty of beach.
Amazing! I can't wait. And that's my plan for next year is to come down and play for sure.
One last question. One of the people that you work with quite often, and I don't know if you are planning again, Mark Lanigan, who I love his stuff. So I'm just wondering if you can give me some insight into working with him and if you're planning on doing anything with him in the future.
Well, we just finished at the Street Songs of Sorrow. So I've worked with him since Bubblegum. Yeah. Bubblegum did 4 songs together, just him and I. Goss did the rest. Blues Funeral, Phantom Radio, No Bells, Gargoyle, Somebody's Knocking, all that stuff we did together. When Mark and I met during Desert Sessions, 7 and 8, it was an amazing chemistry. Obviously, like, you know, been a fan of his, but we had never actually met. Then we got together early 2000s, and he came over, and in 2 hours we had this amazing cover of a Kinks song that we did in a hillbilly style. I used cigar box guitars and harmonium, and these percussion things. And I knew that we had an amazing shorthand working together. It was very quick, you know, and which is good because he's kind of doesn't want to be in the studio dicking around for too long. You know, he likes
Right.
things. So we kind of realized that he could almost play me like an instrument. Like he could like come and say, okay, I've got these chords and this melody, you know, it goes like this, and I hear this, and then I would start grabbing things and put down like some percussion, put down an organ, put down a synth, a
Right.
guitar, and then just create. And within 2-3 hours, you know, we've got the bed to the point where he's excited to sing it. He sings it, and then either it's done, I need to add a couple touches, or we have guests come and do their thing on top, or get strings on, or whatever. And it's been this way. Even when like lately, he's been doing a lot of the stuff himself. He's got this amazing collection of synths and drum machines, and he comes up with beds. We just have this like shorthand. Like I can read him really well, you know. And I've always been, I guess, as a producer, I'm very empathic because I've been produced and engineered, and so I'm very conscious of not stepping on the flow of things. Like I'm not going to make somebody wait for a technical thing, and you know, we'll figure it out later. You know, it's just like just keep moving. If you want to record this, right? Always have a mic up for whatever is happening, and so I think that's the reason it works so well with the two of us together.
Yeah, because I mean, you say you can read him, and his public persona is very closed off. You know, you can tell he's not comfortable with dealing with people like me. So it's
he actually can be really. He's a super smart, super funny guy.
Right.
He, you know, I mean, there are times when, you know, the mood is kind of like intense, not tense or just intense, you know, because he's in the creative mode. And so, but I, you know, I've learned to, you know, just to kind of like, you know, it's hard to describe. It's like I can sense when there might be something coming that might be disrupting of the flow, and so I'll make sure it doesn't happen, you know.
Right. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it's only because, you know, that's just something that I would wish for myself to have experienced, which I never quite did.
Right.
Having worked with people that, you know, that have this agenda or their bag of tricks or thing that they're trying to fit onto you, when they should really be fluid. Like I might come up with a bunch of really amazing ideas and recording techniques and sonic ideas and things for one project, and it's so incredibly cool and everyone digs it, but I'm not gonna use that again. It's like I on purpose just forget it and then try to come up with something different for the next thing. So just to kind of like, you know, figure out what I just want to be really assistive, and I want to be invisible to the thing. And obviously if I'm needed, I mean, I'm coming up with a lot of these parts as well, you know. It's like it's not just like a passive, like, you know, being told what to play, but it's all kind of like leading towards the feel of it. And when you get to know somebody, like when Mark and I started more work together, it just became easier and easier to get things, good, really amazing things, and get them quickly so that we could flow. You know, it's like, I think two weeks is like the longest we've taken to make a record, you know.
Right. That's very cool. And good luck with the record. Thank you very much. Hope to see you down here sometime soon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll see you next year for sure.
Absolutely.
Take care of yourself.
Hey,
All right.
bye-bye.